What's up, family? My name is Marius Lancaster, owner, host, and producer of Black Unquiet Minds. This episode is my 2026 check-in, and honestly, this one took a lot to sit down and record. I know it's been a while, and unfortunately, I must apologize to my viewers again. 2025 was one of the hardest years of my life. Not just stressful, not just emotional, it was survival level hard. And I know a lot of us are walking around carrying years like that inside of us, acting like we're fine. So I just want to talk about myself honestly. I started 2025 exhausted. At work, I was forced into a position change and a schedule shift that completely flipped my life upside down. No real choice, no conversation, just this is happening. And that might not sound dramatic, but when your entire routine, your sleep, your mental health, your stability gets ripped out from under you, it hits different. I was working under someone who openly referred to me and my ethnic group as no different than animals in cages. And I need people to understand that kind of racism isn't always loud. Sometimes it's casual, sometimes it's said as a joke, sometimes it's said like it's normal. But regardless, it sticks and it eats at you. Every day I walked in, I felt smaller, less human, less safe. That environment planted seeds that would grow into something much heavier later in the year. Then came the day that changed everything. I was held up at gunpoint. A day that should have just been a normal day at the gym turned into being chased by a white man in a custom lifted truck as a firearm was pointed right at me. And I don't say that casually. When you stare down at a barrel of a gun, time slows. Your body reacts before your brain does. Every thought is survival. Every breath feels borrowed. A feeling, an experience I now share with those currently under siege by ICE. Within moments, I was chased all the way to the gym, and eventually, despite going in person for a full statement and calling my assigned detective daily, charges tied to that situation were dismissed. But here's what people don't talk about. Even when the legal part is over, the fear stays. You walk differently. You scan rooms. You tense up when people move fast. You flinch at sounds you used to ignore. Even tense up at the sight of a pickup truck. In this way, trauma doesn't leave when danger leaves. No, instead it sets up camp. Like blocked on Cash App trauma. Not long after that, I had to represent myself in court against my landlord. No lawyer, no backup, just me standing in front of a system that isn't exactly designed for people like me to win. Sitting in that courtroom knowing one wrong sentence could affect my housing, my safety, my stability, that pressure is unreal. But I showed up, I learned, I spoke, and I fought. And I survived that too. Even earned back $88. And to that I say it ain't much, but it was honest work. And I want to say this clearly. If you have ever had to advocate for yourself alone, I see you. Not to mention, in the middle of all of this, I went through breakup after breakup, each one hitting deeper than I expected and chipping away at that thing in the back of my mind labeled hope. Sometimes relationships don't just end, they collapse. And when everything in your life is already unstable, losing emotional safety can feel like a free fall. Eventually, depression caught up with me. Not sadness, not burnout, depression. The kind that makes getting out of bed feel like lifting concrete. The kind that makes you disappear inside of yourself. I had to take medical leave because I wasn't okay, and pretending I was almost broke me. And I want to normalize that. Taking care of your mental health is not a weakness, it's survival. Now here we are in January. And January carries a quiet weight. This was the year my child would have turned 3. A child that never got the chance to exist. And grief like that is strange because you're mourning someone the world never met. There's no funeral, no anniversary, no public acknowledgement, just a date in your chest that aches when it passes. That loss reshaped me, and I carry that with me every day too. But even in a year like this, heavy as it was, there was light. I adopted a new cat, Maxim, and that little dude brought back life into my home. Even though every once in a while, he is a certified little shit. Certified. I still love him more than words could ever muster. And in a way, he does fill a void that truly, I don't know what I would do without him. And I don't know what I'm going to do when the time comes that I will have to be without him. Even though that is years down the line. He just means a lot to me. I also celebrated 3 years of volunteering at OAR. Something that reminds me that the smallest things can make the biggest difference. And subtly also reminds me that I belong somewhere. And I finally left a job that drained and dehumanized me and was my last connection to a woman who took something from me that I could never get back. I found new work, new stability, and new air. Sometimes I've had to learn winning just looks like getting free. And in that small way, I think I've won. Thanks, fam. I hope to see a lot more of you, and keep an eye out for Black Unquiet verses, where spoken word will be bridging some gaps in filling in the new year as 2026 brings a lot of hope, a lot of love, and hopefully a lot of new business. Black Unquiet Minds LLC. Hope to see you soon.